Okay, guys, I am so excited. I am here with CA Miljavic. How are you?
So good.
I am so excited to have you here. So, my audience, I'm assuming, knows of you because the majority of them are all over Facebook. But I want you to kind of introduce yourself. I don't know if you mind me sharing, but the way that I found you was through a viral Facebook video that you did. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay, so my name's Carol Ann Miljavic, but everyone that I'm close with calls me CA. So, y'all are free to say that if you want to. And I'm a Beachbody coach, which kind of turned into motivational speaker, comedian, some people would say. And, that really just happened in the last year and a half. So for the last 4 years, that's what I've been doing is I've been an online health and fitness coach. And before that, I was in outside sales. I was that girl who was walking door to door and had little stuff that I was selling, for spa certificates and things like that. And so I've always done some sort of a business that required me to speak to people, to be
Okay.
with people. And so it just kind of led to online health and fitness, and then the videos just brought me a whole new platform and opportunities. So it's been really cool.
Yes. So I started to make a little bit of a face because I totally know what you're talking about with the door-to-door sales with like certificates where it was like 25 bucks and you got buy one, get ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, did it in college. So I totally know,
Like the same company.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
I was
Okay.
desperate.
You what?
I was desperate. I needed a job. So
Yep, I know. Yes, exactly. Yes. And it paid the bills and it got it done. And it gave me a lot of different, it gave me my lumps. I feel like it made me who I am. I'm much more thicker skinned because of it, for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, it definitely prepped me for what God had in store for me down the road, for sure. I think he always because I always look back and I'm like, how did I do that? That is the most difficult. I don't even think I could do it now, to
Right.
walk into a store and ask for the manager and do this pitch at them. I had to really want it. I had something I was working hard. I was pregnant is what it was. I had a baby on the way. So I was like, I got to make some money. And so I had to do what I had to do. But yeah, it teaches you so much. It builds so much character.
Yes.
And it definitely prepared me for what was in store, now. So
Absolutely. So now you've built this business, and one of the questions I always ask is, what do you find is the most difficult part about being an online entrepreneur? Because really that's what you are at this point. Like, you had this business and it's blown up, obviously. But what's the most difficult part, would you find?
well, I think it's important for everyone to understand too. My business has not grown and I haven't rank advanced since the viral videos. So I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs that probably listen to this podcast. It's important for you to understand that comparison is killing you because it's just false. It's not real. And, I used to be someone who I would look at other, people who do what I do, other coaches, and I would look at their followings and I would think, well, they've got it so much easier. And if I just had that many followers, then I'd be able to be successful. And, you find little ways to compare yourself to other people, whatever way you can. Sometimes it's even just, well, I don't have blonde hair. Or if I had blonde hair, I'd be more successful. And it's just not true. And coming from someone who spent the first 2 years of being an entrepreneur online, with no followers or 300 followers when I first started, to now having almost 300,000, it did not make a difference in my business. If anything, it just made things even more complicated and even harder. And so don't wish for what someone else has, because it's not the ticket to your success. And I think something we all know as online entrepreneurs is that there really is no trick to it. I think no matter what business you're in, whether it's, I'm obviously with Beachbody, but whether it's, essential oils or lip scents or whatever it is that you're involved in, you probably have some really awesome training, some great training that your company's put together, and the basics of what we have to do every day are the same. It's, you got to talk to people, and you got to learn how to talk to people and how to have conversations and be genuine and be real and not be just like every other person on their Facebook news feed. And, you know, learning to do that is probably the hardest part, because there is no way around it. You have to suck at first to be better later. And so, I had 2 strong years of failing and failing and failing and failing and trying new things. And I think the most important thing is that you have to understand that the business tools are there, but what you don't have training in is your emotions and your feelings, and the way your outside uncontrollable circumstances are going to get meshed in there with your business and what you want out of life. And so you really, for me, the most important lesson was learning how to control my emotions and learning how to do the things I need to do regardless of how I feel. And I think for online entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general, that's crucial, because if you allow outside circumstances, which are out of your control, to have any kind of an influence on what you do each day and whether or not you do the things you need to get where you want to be, you'll obviously never succeed. You'll fail. And so for me, that moment, I was about 2 years into my business, and a lot of, especially my newer followers, do not probably know this, but about 2 years into my business, I was the same as everyone else, just banging my head against the wall, like trying to force my way to success, and I'm going to make this happen, and trying to have control over everything. And I was miserable. I was losing my joy in my business, and I love what I do, but I was losing my joy, and I didn't know what I was really fighting for. And that's when I got the phone call that my 6-year-old niece had been diagnosed with cancer, and she had just turned 6. And so, that was a moment for me where I kind of realized how dumb the things were that I was so concerned with. And that was trying to be like everyone else, which really came back down to fear of what people would think of the real me if I let them see the real me. If I let those inside thoughts that we all have, that we just don't say out loud, if I was unable to open my mouth and speak and let people see me for who I am, I felt like that was just so dumb because there were things like this happening that are actual problems and that are, real stresses in life and real struggles. And so watching her journey and watching her battle that disease really kind of brought me back down to earth and woke me up to what is really important. And that is just to figure out what your gifts are and unapologetically put them out there for the world, and to really believe that you do have something that someone needs in their life, that there's something you've experienced, there's something you have to say. No matter how dumb you feel, somebody out there needs to hear it. And a big part of that for me also was renewing my faith and giving my life back to God. When that happened with her, that became very important to me. And when I did that, I don't know, like slowly but surely, he just started to break a lot of chains that I had been carrying around, which was mostly insecurity and fear of judgment and fear of rejection and what ifs and not truly believing in myself, even though I told everyone I did. And when I was able to let those things go, I was free to just enjoy myself, enjoy my job, enjoy my life, no matter what was happening. So in the midst of her battling cancer, which is the hardest thing our family's ever been through, and ultimately she did pass away about 15 months after she was diagnosed. It was the hardest year of our lives, but it was also for me one of the best years of my life, because I became myself in a way I've never been. And I think that when you realize who you really are, and you not only realize it, but you embrace it and accept it, and then make a decision to spill it on to everyone else, there's really, I don't feel like there's anything that you can't achieve or accomplish. And I wanted to leave an impact on the world in some way, a real impact, a solid impact. So if I die tomorrow, I want to be super happy with what I've left behind in the lives of others. And you can't do that if you are quiet. And you can't do that if you won't be yourself. And you can't do that if you don't peel back that onion and take a deeper look at what's going on inside of you and really pursue bettering yourself on a deeper level so that you have more value to give others. And I think as entrepreneurs, regardless of what your product is, doesn't matter what your product is. What you have to offer is the value. And if you can connect someone with something that's also going to help them solve a problem that they legit have in their lives, great, wonderful. But you get to bring something even more to the table. You get to, make deposits in the lives of others. And I just wanted to, whether that be laughter or faith, something faith related, or if it was just motivation. There's a lot of people on my page who don't do Beachbody. They don't work with me, but they find motivation to get to work, to get off their butts, to go to the gym. And I'm totally happy with that. And I had to learn to be happy with that, because, sometimes we get so caught up in where we want to be and what we want to achieve. We forget that it takes a whole lot of foundation built on relationships and loving others and helping others. And sometimes that means you don't get an immediate reward from that, but it trickles down and it builds up, and you do reap that reward later on. And it's, just a matter of, is that worth it for me or not? And it's totally worth it to me.
So much of my audience are bloggers that started a site that wanted to share, like you're talking about. And I love the way that you talk about how you turned towards almost like you had this pivot towards a power, a purpose. And because it makes such a difference knowing where you're trying to go and what it is that you're searching for, so that you don't worry about what everyone else is doing and that imposter syndrome. Now, let's talk a little bit about Facebook, because I feel like you kind of talked about it, like you hit on it. Once you really figured out what your power of purpose was and what it was that you wanted to do, rather than comparing yourself to everyone else, you set out there to give people these videos that some were hilarious, some were mindset shifts like you talked about, but it made you different, I feel like, from everyone else, and people connected with you. And I think that's where people get stuck, is they don't know how to connect with the audience that they do have. So what would be some of your suggestions for connecting better with an audience?
Well, it took a lot of failing. I had to figure it out. I always, I asked myself, what would people who are close to me, my closest friends, my closest family members, what would they say about me? And one thing that always stood out that I knew without a doubt was that of my group of friends, I was always the goofiest. I was always putting on a show or doing little skits or doing voices and making faces and just being sarcastic. But that was always something that I just felt I never looked at that as something that would be useful to me in my business or, in life in general, and so I really was like, that's a side of myself that I've just never put out there. One, because it's terrifying, because with comedy, at least, I think I'm funny, but I was like, I'd feel really dumb if I put this out there. And a lot of people thought I wasn't funny, or they thought I was trying too hard, that I was silly. And so it really was just making the decision to do it anyway and put it out there. And the first couple of videos I did, it's funny, if you look back, if I could find them, you can tell that I'm just trying to figure it out. You can tell I'm not super comfortable yet, and I wasn't quite sure how to get what was going on in here onto video or on even to write it out. And so I had to just practice, and I had to be willing to utilize my public social media feed to figure it out, which meant that I had posts that were just rolling donuts all the time. And then slowly but surely, over time, I would start to see more people want to comment or want to ask a question or acknowledge they thought this was funny. And so I started to really feel myself out and figure out who I was and how to put what was going on in my head and get it to come through on the video. And so failing forward. We hear that all the time, but truthfully, that's what it is. It's just being willing to figure it out and to just kind of laugh at yourself and enjoy the process as you figure it out. What a lot of people probably don't even realize is that for an entire year, I had that page for a year. And I had 300 followers. And those followers were my family, my friends, other coaches who weren't on my team. And so for a whole entire year, every single day, I posted on that page what I felt was valuable content. So whether it was reading personal development books and having something stirring inside of me that I was feeling based on that book, and I would just spill it. I'd either type it out. We didn't have live feeds yet at the time, so I didn't have that option. Now, I mean, honestly, entrepreneurs, I tell my coaches, I'm like, y'all are so spoiled rotten now. Like, you have so many cool opportunities that a lot of people didn't have, especially coming from the door-to-door outside sales on foot world. It's like, you don't have anything to complain about. So, rejection to the face is way different than someone on Facebook Messenger saying, no, thanks. And then you're all like, oh, they said no. Well, have someone scream in your face to get out of their store while you're pregnant and see how that feels. But so, it was every single day posting what I felt was valuable content, regardless of the fact that nobody was liking it, nobody was viewing it, and doing it every day anyway, because I believed that something would happen. And a year of doing that, we had a Dance Like Nobody's Watching challenge. And it was just one of those days where I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to do what everybody else does when they do these challenges, which was the typical just like, And so what I did is Salt and Pepper, Push It Good is my jam. And I'm not lying. When that song comes on, I lose my mind. I mean, I go for it. As if I'm 20
That's
years
the video I found you.
So I thought to myself, I was like, I'm going to do it the way I would really do it. If nobody was here, if nobody saw me like in my right here in my basement, with my kids right there next to me, fussing and fighting, and just mommy needs a moment and just go for it, and so I hit record and I pushed play and I went for it. And I sat with that on the screen for a good 10 minutes, just like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to post this publicly for people to see. But I hit post and I did that on my personal page, and it, blew. I was like, oh my God, it's got 500 views. And, my mom's calling me and it got like 2,000 views, and my mom's goes, I think it's going to go viral. And I was like, no. And so I was like, okay, well then I guess I'll go put it on my page, because I had a personal page and I had my page.
Yes.
So I'll go put that on my page and see what happens then. And it went like mega viral on the page. But, you see viral videos all the time on Facebook, and I don't know how many times I've seen them when you just keep scrolling, right? You watch it, you like it, you think it's funny, but you keep scrolling. For people to actually see that video and stay with me and follow and stay on my page, they had to have awesome content that they were exposed to when the video, introduced me to them. And so thank God I had a whole year's worth of really great content that was very personal to me, very vulnerable, so that when they saw that viral video and they went to my page, they got an idea of who I was, what I was about, how I feel about things. And that, I have a sense of humor, but that's not all you're going to get on my page. And I mean, truthfully, if I was doing it for followers, I would just post nothing but funny videos all the time, once a week. I mean, that's what a lot of those social media personalities, they only do like one post a week. That's a new, fresh, funny video. But because I don't really want to do that, I lose a lot of followers every day, because every time I talk about my faith, every time I talk about my health and fitness, people will check out because they just want the funnies. And that's okay with me, because my purpose didn't change. My purpose was still very much help make a difference in the lives of others. And if they get a laugh, great. But if I can, I've had opportunities where people have sent me messages, and a live feed that I did that I felt very strongly about, relating to my faith, where they've been this close to committing suicide, got a notification that I was live, listened to the message, and didn't do it. And that, to me, like, that means so much more to me than just trying to have 500,000 followers. You know what I mean? And I quickly realized, like, over the course of this last year, that your following really doesn't matter. What matters is the difference you're making within that following. And, you could have 1 million followers and not connect with a single one of them, or not make a difference in their lives. And I want to do the latter. And so I'm not going to compromise what I feel like more people want from me. In order to make people happy, I'm not going to compromise speaking on what's important to me, which is my faith. You have to speak. You have to open your mouth and speak on what's important to you, what your opinions are, how you feel about things. There's a tactical way of going about it, so you don't offend more people than you make happy. But, open your mouth. You got to open your mouth. You have to share yourself, and you have to be aware that everyone's not going to like you, that several people actually might even hate you. Like I've had people like hate me, which I don't get, but and you have to also understand that this helps build character in you as well, because, one thing I see a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of is getting super defensive. And, I don't know if anyone has saw the lip sense video, but, I do several videos like that. I also I make light of what I do as a coach too, because we do silly things, especially as newer entrepreneurs. We do silly things because we don't know any better, and we're excited. And so I thought, I could help teach newer entrepreneurs not to do this by showing them how exaggerated silly it is, and so that was really the purpose. And if you're getting defensive all the time, you miss opportunities to take a step back and just laugh at yourself and enjoy what you're doing, like really enjoy it, and learn from your mistakes, learn from silly things you've done. A lot of my jokes stem from things I did, conversations I had where I really was just like, hey, do you want Shakeology? You should drink Shakeology. Everyone should drink Shakeology. It's better than everything, posting the comparison charts, and I look back and I'm like, wow, like that was really embarrassing. I'm kind of wish I hadn't done that, so my way of paying that forward, that lesson I learned, is to incorporate my humor, because that's my personality and that's who I am. So that's how I'm going to pass it on. And so you figure out who you are and you pass that on. And it is very much true. Social media, especially Facebook, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, I don't care what it is. People are sick of fake. They're just sick of it. It's gotten old, and people are like dying for someone to really just be real and be honest. And the truth is that there's pros and cons to everything that we have, so whatever it is you're representing, there's pros and cons to it. So you need to talk about both. You need to be upfront and honest, because what happens is when you do that, someone's more likely to actually want what you have. You think it's going to force them to go, you think it's going to make them turn and run, but it's going to draw them in because they know they can trust you to be real with them. And that's a huge lesson I learned with social media, is just to be as real as humanly possible. And if something makes you squirm, then you need to put it out there. If it makes you feel like, then you need to put it out there. You need to post it, now I don't think twice about posting. I'm like, I'm going to post it, So vulnerability, keeping it real, being very honest, and just doing your absolute very best to never allow yourself to put up what you think people want to see from you. If you're thinking in your head, like for example, this podcast, when I saw your message this morning that it was going to be video too, I was like, I had a moment where I was like, oh, I need to shower. and cause in the mornings, I do my workout and I do my video, one of the blessings about what I do is I don't have to get dressed up every day, which is huge for me because I hate it. And so I was like, oh crap, like, oh, should I wash my hair? And then I was like, no, because that's not me. Like, I'm going to be on here with my workout clothes and my hair up in a crazy ponytail, and that's real. So it's making that decision to be yourself on every level in every situation and maintaining that as much as you possibly can. And don't copy anybody, you can take things from people that you admire or respect. You can take advice and tips, but make it your own, manipulate it in there with who you are and what matters to you based on your experiences in life, and figure out and that's just going to take loads of personal development, and I listen to motivational speeches constantly. That was a huge change for me, was listening to those every single morning so that I could, manipulating your thoughts is extremely important, because your thoughts dictate your actions, and that's just a fact. And so if you don't put effort into training your thoughts, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as an online entrepreneur. Also, online entrepreneurs, one more piece of advice: get your face out there. Get your face out there. Get your face, get your voice. When you're connecting with people, don't keep it to messages, actually set up phone calls, FaceTimes, the voice message thingy instead of just typing it out. I mean, you feel disconnected with social media, which is a comfort blanket for many online entrepreneurs, and that's why they love it. You got to get uncomfortable though. So you need to get your face out there, your voice out there, so people can hear that you're genuine. There's a reason why there's so many misconceptions about network marketers and MLMs and blah, blah, blah. And it's because it's easy to have them, because all you see is what, all these people are posting and the way they come off. But when you can hear someone genuinely talk about how they got involved in this company, what led them there, how it's changed their lives, it's easier to, even if you don't want it, to just at least say, I get it. I see why you're doing that. I totally understand why you're doing that. I'm happy for you. Maybe I don't want to buy your stuff. Maybe I don't want to be on your team, but I'm happy for you, and you can't do that just typing it. So I would say, definitely make it more personal. Make it more personal.
I think anybody that has a product or is working with an MLM that is trying to push forward a product, you have to put yourself out there. It's all about you. A lot of times I have found that people don't necessarily buy the product because they feel they need it. They buy it because of who you are. And they've seen that you've had a transformation and they think, well, maybe I can too. It's definitely about that. And I honestly, I have a little bit of a hidden secret. I'm not a big fan of Facebook. I have always, the algorithm and the changes and everything. And I've been blogging for 6 years. So I've had the ups and the downs and the crazy. But I think what you said about the fact that you did it for a year, falling and failing, but you kept putting quality content up so that when they did have that viral video, they had all that quality content to understand who you were and what you were about. And having that kind of laid out for them made it so much easier. It kind of gave me a little bit of a mind shift because it, like you said, it's about engagement. It's about having that audience that interacts with you. And I think when you can have that and make an actual impact on people's lives, huge, huge, huge difference. It's just not the same old Facebook anymore. It's your business, but it's also kind of who you are and what you represent.
Yeah. And, and there's going to be people who don't connect with you, and that's okay, because the whole point of what we're doing is to find people who were meant to be in our lives. And, it's been really cool because there's people that I'm their coach, but I'm actually more excited because I introduce them to their best friend. You know what I mean? Like there's so many girls on my team who are best friends now, or even within my, virtual gym groups, health and fitness groups, they become best friends. They're not best friends with me, but they're best friends. And I was the conduit to that. And, it's like you find people who are divine appointments. I feel like it's divine appointments, obviously, because I'm very faithful. And I feel like God really does put the exact people in your path who you're supposed to talk to, who you're supposed to meet and be, not only to add value to their lives, but for them to add it to yours. It's extremely important to ask so many questions to the people you're lucky enough to get to talk to. So when you are, let's say you are speaking with someone, to ask them so many questions so you can really get to know who they are, what their life is like, what they struggle with. Because I always tell all of my people, whether they need what we have or not, you have value. And it's our purpose to give that value is, even just a little bit, whether it's a recommendation for a personal development book, if you connect with someone who also struggles with anxiety or depression, or heck, I connect with so many stay-at-home moms who are just like, feel like they're going nuts. So if there's something that has helped me in that area, I'm going to tell them what it is, and maybe that doesn't help my business move forward, but what it does do is help me build, establish good connections. And what happens is if you really connect with someone and they know you care, their network becomes your network. And you can't be successful as a network marketer if you do not have a network. And you can't have a network if you don't talk to people. So, not just talking to people, but listening.
And I think that works. That goes for bloggers too, that may not necessarily have a product. Like I did a training this morning and I talked about that, the idea of having that tribe, having those people that you rely on. And it's your network. They're your support system. No one understands what we go through online as online entrepreneurs more than someone else that's online. You have to have that support network. So you kind of touched on the fact that you have multiple different things going on. And I know that you've talked about on a live feed that you're in the process of having a website built. What is your purpose with the website? What is it going? What can people find when they come to you? Those sort of things.
Yeah. So right now, on my Facebook page, I have anywhere from 50 to 100 messages daily. And sometimes they want to work with me, but sometimes they just want to say hi. And sometimes they want advice on just life stuff, or do you have any recommendations for personal development? So it's all these different types of questions that I'm getting asked every day. And I want to be able to add value, obviously, but something that I struggled with was the amount. I wasn't really prepared for the amount of people who were going to come into my life this last year. And I am not an organized person at all. I mean, I think anybody who follows me probably gets that idea. So, I mean, if you could see my basement right now, but so I'm not an organized person. And so this website is going to make it easy for you to get what you need or what you would like to know from me, because there's going to be different sections of it where if all you want from me is funny videos, but you would like to have a spot where you can find all of them. So all of the funny videos will be there. And if you want to actually work with me, there will be a link there that you can click and you can tell me more about yourself and I'll know how I can help you. There's a link for people who want to be coaches on my team. There's going to be a link for motivational speeches and faith-based messages. And so all of the different things that I've found over the last year that people really want to talk with me about, I'm going to have an organized way for you to get to it. And it won't be as hard for me to keep up because I'm just, I can barely remember my children's full names.
Great.
Never go through every child you have before you, like, I'm naming the dog, like Casey, Moon, Presley, Bodie, and then I still haven't said the one I'm talking to. So, you know what I mean? So I'm aware of this problem. This website's going to solve that problem for me, and it's going to allow me to connect with people without necessarily needing to individually click on all of the messages, which just feel anxiety. And it's also going to be something I can update on the regular. So if there seems to be a specific topic, like motivation, for example, is something I get asked about constantly, and I'm very passionate about it. And so I'll be able to, do videos on that particular topic. So if you're lacking motivation, I can say, go to my website, click on the videos for motivation, and you'll get what you need from me. And so it's going to just help me be more organized. It's going to help, I think it'll help my business run a lot more smooth, because Facebook inbox is for the birds. It doesn't work very well. So I think I think anybody who's really serious about making this a long-term business, I think it's a good idea to have either a website or a place that's more organized. And Lord knows I'm not running it. I mean, I've got somebody running it for me because I'm not good with the technologies these days. And so, I have somebody who's gonna run it for me. But if you're able to do that when you can afford that, that's a good investment to make into yourself.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think that's one of the things I've definitely had conversations with people that do MLMs, that don't have blogs or sites or anything started, that it definitely can help and just guide people to more information. And then you can share on other social media platforms, even with Pinterest and things of that nature. You can now have a place to have everything housed. I think it's so smart. So now, one of the questions I always ask all of the people that come on to my podcast, are there projections for the rest of 2017? This can be in an MLM industry. This can be on social media. Where do you see the industry kind of going in 2017 for the rest of the year?
Well, last year, I kind of see I'm always going to be present on Facebook, obviously, but I'm actually seeing a lot more interaction. And it's really important for us to really let people in, let them see what's going on in our lives. And especially in our businesses, if you want to grow your business, you really want people to see what's going on in your business, the real deal, the truth. Like, what does your day look like? And I'm finding that it's really so much easier and more fun to do that through Snapchat. And Facebook is great for me for videos. And if you have something you really want to write out that's meaningful, because people want to read on, Facebook's more of a reader's social media platform. But I feel like it's important to change with the times. And I feel like a lot of people are veering more towards those other avenues, because it's so easy for you to very quickly let people in with video. Yes. And these little snippets to say, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And look at the craziness that's going on, and I'm still getting it done. It's easier to do that with something like Snapchat than Facebook. And Facebook live feeds are amazing. But what I project happening is a lot more interaction, happening via Snapchat. So, and I do think, like, as far as my platform goes, it's steadily increasing by anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 a week followers. And I think as long as, and this goes for everyone, as long as you just keep being yourself and, not worrying that people aren't going to like you, just be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. That will always continue to grow, and never ever hold back on something that's important to you because you're afraid of what someone might think. For me, a lot of people have messaged me saying I've been really scared to incorporate my faith because I'm afraid people won't want to work with me, or I'm afraid, it'll drive people away. And I decided a while back that if someone doesn't want to work with me because I'm a Christian, then I'm not supposed to work with them, and really my goal is to help renew people's faith. And so I'm looking for that person who still wants to work with me, even though they're not, and have that opportunity to have a positive influence. And so I decided I didn't care how many people didn't like it, that's what I want. So figuring out what you want, knowing what you want is so important, because it's the thing you have to stay focused on when everything else is out of control. Because you can always control what your daily actions are, and whatever your daily actions are for your business or for your life, or I always tell everyone too, for your health and fitness, that's in your control. It's a decision you can make every single day, regardless of what's happening around you. So know where you're going and what you want, and figure it out along the way what the best avenue is going to be in order to achieve it. For me personally, Snapchat is really helping me connect on a more personal level with people. Facebook live feeds, I think if you're not doing them, then you're crazy. You got to be doing those. You got to do them often. If I'm sure, like Facebook algorithm, Facebook live feeds, the live feeds, that's where it's at. You're so much more likely to have your live feed seen than just a random post that you throw up. So live feeds, videos, and then, posts with pictures. Also, the time of day that you post matters. You can't, you can take a look at, I know that my page has a thing where I can see when people are most active on my page. And so posting around those times matters. And so, learning, just digging a little deeper, think outside the box, and then apply. And so, I think in 2017, for me personally, I feel like everything's going to keep growing. I feel like the website's going to help massively. And there's going to be a lot more going on Snapchat probably than Facebook even. And I'm trying to get a little better on Instagram too. It gets tough. It gets tough to do all these different social media platforms.
But I think it's important that you kind of recognize what is most effective for you, and knowing that the video and knowing that they want that personal relationship with you, going to Snapchat is perfect. And I think everyone has to be able to make those choices. There are certain social media platforms that I stay away from just because I'm not comfortable. I wasn't, I was a late bloomer when it came to it. I've mentioned it before. I'm not going to say which platform. But you have to be able to choose, just like you're talking about as far as where you're going to be. You also need to, I think you touched on it with as far as attracting the right people, you also want to repel those that are just not right for you. And I think that it's okay. I think a lot of times we want to try to please everyone, and that's not what our job is. That shouldn't be part of our business. We have to make ourselves happy and do what's right to us for ourselves. So I think that is so important that you touched on that.
It's so true. And I think, it's a hard lesson to learn. It's because it's a mindset. Again, it's your mindset. It's the way we think, we just want everyone to be happy. But you have to accept that that's just not going to happen. And if you really want to do this and you really want to be successful in life and business, with your blog, with your whatever it is, you have to commit to being who you are no matter what. And I have learned to kind of feel like good riddance when someone unfollows me. Bye. Not in a mean way, but I'm not supposed to be a part of your life. Fine. That's fine with me. If someone doesn't want to, cancels their Coach account, I'm looking for the people who resonate with me and need what I have to offer. And I'm thankful for them. And I'm also praying that the ones who don't find the person they're supposed to be with. And that's maturity as an entrepreneur, is understanding not everyone's for you, and that you want what's best for them, right? Not what's best for yourself. And if what's best for them is not to work with you, then you need to be happy for that. I sometimes will try to connect people with someone I feel is better for them than me. If I'm talking to someone, I'm just like, I just don't feel like we're going to connect. Then let me connect you with someone I feel like is better for you, because because I don't want in a week for you to give up, and I don't want to waste my time or yours. And so, time efficiency, the way you manage your time and who you give your time to matters, and you're not going to spend your time efficiently trying to please everyone. It's just going to be time wasted, because it's not going to happen. And you can actually adjust your life to what you think everyone wants, and still someone isn't going to like you. So if people aren't going to like you no matter what you do, you might as well have them not like you for being yourself, right? And doing what makes you happy, and doing what's going to actually help you help someone and help yourself as well. If someone's not in line with where my life is going and what I want out of my life, my one life that I get, I don't get another one, and I don't know how long it's going to be. It could end tomorrow. I am not going to waste it trying to do what everyone else wants me to do. I'm going to be myself and do what I have been called to do. I'm going to fulfill my purpose using my unique God-given gifts, and we all have them. They're all unique to us. So figure out what your strengths are, strengthen those, and forget about what everyone else has that you don't, because you don't need it. I used to say, I'm not as funny as this guy or this girl. I don't know. I can't make cool videos because I don't have good, who knew all I needed was a phone and my face, I used to say 2 years I put off being myself. And I also used to say, I'm not as fit as some of the other coaches. I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have this. And when I finally stopped doing that and just said, this is what I do have. I can make goofy faces that tend to make people laugh, and I have this Southern accent and whatever. And so it was like, let me just be myself and see what happens. And then look what happened. Look what happens. You have to have faith in yourself, and you have to accept that you have something to offer. You do.
Absolutely.
Everyone does. And you can do anything you want to do. There's no one. I used to feel like I was lost in a sea of 400,000 coaches, and how in the world am I ever going to be successful or stand out? The only way you can stand out is by being yourself, because you are the only you. And we hear that all the time, but it's true. Mm-hmm. And it should hit you like a dagger in the heart, because when someone says something that makes you go, yes, it's not because you didn't know it. It's because you knew it already. And when they said it, it brought it to the surface and reminded you, So continuously bring stuff to the surface so that you're always remembering it, thinking about it, and applying it to your life. And, train that brain, train those thoughts. That's got to be like number one, most important.
Right. CA, where are the best places to find you and connect with you? Obviously, your Facebook page, which if they were to search in Facebook, I'm obviously some people listen to this while they're driving. So for those that are going to search for it after they're done driving and don't go to the show notes, where can they find you on Facebook? Under what name?
If they search capital C, capital A, and then space, and then put a capital M,
yep.
Usually CA Miljavic will be the first thing that comes up. And so, or even capital C, capital A, I think CA Miljavic comes up first. But yeah, so if you're on Facebook, search CA and then space and Miljavic, MIL really is all you need.
Yeah.
And same thing on Instagram. It's lowercase CA Miljavic, all one word, just CAMILJAVAC.
Yeah.
With Snapchat. And so it's all CA Miljavic. So you should be able to find me if you search that. Now, if you message me on Facebook, you got to give me grace, because you got to give me grace. It takes a minute. But yeah, so if someone wants to connect with me, that's the best way to do it. And then if they really want to talk with me on a deeper level, send me a message, give me grace, and then I'll give you my email address.
Perfect. And then once the website is up and ready and running, we are going to make sure that we link to that in the show notes as well, so that they can find all of your content in one spot. CA, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy I got to.